Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Depending on your location, we have quite a variety of registrations from all over the world. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Mark Young. I'm a sales executive with Infor's product or configure, price, and quote group. And we'll talk today about the CPQ market, why it is an important and growing solution, and of course, we'll share the Infor CPQ offering, and we'll also discuss briefly the history, evolution, and the future of that offering. And then we'll learn from one of our clients who was an early adopter of CPQ as he shares his experience with Infor CPQ, and we'll leave plenty of time for Q&A. So thank you all again. Before we begin, just a few logistical items. I'd like to mention to optimize your experience on today's event. We'll have time at the end of the day to answer your questions. Please submit them via the question and answer panel in the bottom right of your screen. Click on the field that is available to question and send to presenter. We'll hold all the questions to the end of the presentations, and we should have time to get to all of them. If we do not get to your question today, we will follow up with you directly following today's webinar. Also, in the center of your screen, there's an icon with a double arrow. If you use that, just click on that, and your view will be converted to a full screen view, which will enhance the experience. Also, joining me today are Dinesh Dhamija, Vice President of Architecture and Innovation here at Infor, and Tom Evans, Vice President of Sales at Great Plains Manufacturing. Dinesh was the designer and original architect of the Infor CPQ solution. He was also a university professor and researcher in manufacturing design and automation systems. He's a consultant, research collaborator with companies including IBM, Cooper, GE Aircraft, and he will be addressing the history, evolution, and future of the Infor CPQ offering. Tom has been in the farm machinery business for the past 4 years. He worked with Deere & Company for 16, during which time he held various positions in manufacturing, wholesale sales, retail sales, including store manager of the Salina Implement Company. For the past 25 years, Tom has been with Great Plains Manufacturing and has focused on planting and seeding equipment, as well as tillage equipment. So let's review the agenda for today. We took care of the introductions and welcome them. And now I'm going to give a brief overview of the CPQ market and a very brief peek at the CPQ offering. Dinesh will then spend some time with you on the history, evolution, and future of the offering. And then we're going to listen in on Tom's history and how he went about selecting, investing, and deploying CPQ. And then, of course, we'll have Q&A, and then we'll point you to some resources that will be available to you for follow-up. Joyce, could you intro the video?
Is your company hard to do business with? Are your products difficult to buy? Are pricing and manufacturing errors reducing your profits? Manufacturers and distributors face these types of challenges every day. Infor Configure Price Quote solves these challenges by providing guided multi-tier quoting and ordering, easy selection and configuration of products and services, dynamic product images, drawings, and models, automated documentation and customer proposals with convenient anytime access from any mobile device. With Infor Configure Price Quote, manufacturers and distributors will increase sales, reduce costs, differentiate their brand. Want to learn more? Visit infor.com/CPQ.
there are probably different connection speeds, but hopefully it came through for everyone. If not, you can access it directly at the infor.com website. So let's take a look at the market definition of configure price quote. And this is a relatively new space, and it's been defined by the analysts like Gartner, Aberdeen, etc., as configure price quote. What's it been, Dinesh? Maybe they've been following it for maybe 4 or 5 years?
From a CPQ perspective, I'd say more about 6 or 7 years,
Okay,
but they've started to define it a little bit more over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. So first, configure, align customer requirements with business capabilities. Price, of course, calculate the actual price the customer will pay. And then, quote, deliver a configuration and pricing to the customer. Now that's the market definition. Infor has a slightly different definition. We believe it's configure, price, quote, and fulfill. And we'll get into that here shortly. Configures products, systems, and services. From a pricing perspective, we handle cost, margins, list, promotions, discounts, adders, etc. From a quoting perspective, you'll see that it's multi-channel and tier. It makes for a very efficient means to distribute proposals, and you'll hear a little bit about that from both Dinesh and Tom. And then fulfill, being able to, once the quote is accepted by the customer, turn it into an order and deliver timely, accurate information to the shop floor in terms of BOMs, routes, transit instructions, drawings if need be. The analysts provide some guidance. You know, it's interesting. The worldwide market for CRM spending is about $20 billion. The CPQ market, as they've started to track it, about $300 million, but it's growing at 20% a year. By year-end 2015, the use of comprehensive integrated CPQ processes will help companies grow sales by 10%. That was a Gartner call. And then the primary demand for CPQ is in industrial manufacturing, discrete manufacturing, high tech, and communications. And the bottom line is this helps bridge the gap of the significant investments you all have made in your ERP and your CRM system, where it matters the most. Here's a little bit more analyst guidance. If you look at a recent study from Aberdeen and CPQ users versus non-CPQ users, there are substantial differences in their performance. One that stands out to me on this slide is average deal size is double. Average sales cycle is lower, and win rates are higher. Some additional research, and I know this is a little fuzzy, but this research is available online at Aberdeen's website, and it points to, you know, best practices in sales, best in class and all others. What percentage of your quotes turn into orders, average iterations of sales proposals, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see that CPQ users across the board, you know, the best in class perform substantially higher. And you look at stronger annual business results. And those are pretty dramatic. Again, you can find this at the link below. The Infor CPQ value proposition generates typically with our clients a 5 to 8x ROI. And, you know, it's a very basic value proposition. We help you increase sales, decrease costs, and differentiate your brand. We increase sales by more quotes, larger orders, better win rates. We decrease costs with fewer returns, less scrap and rework, less duplicate effort, and we make it much easier for your customers, dealers, distributors, etc., to do business with you. Customers are having real results. Gorman-Rupp, for example, was able to increase their sales with faster new product introductions. Of course, we're going to hear from Tom on Great Plains results. And Celix, a lighting company, was able to increase channel sales by making it easier and quicker to quote and order. They significantly reduced their inventory because they had better planning, and they've differentiated their brand in the marketplace. We've had 400 plus customer go-lives around the world with some very, very excellent companies, and we'd love to do the same for you. And now I'm going to ask Dinesh to talk about the history, evolution, and future of CPQ. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mark, and good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everybody. Appreciate your time on this call. I'm excited to share with you at least, some of the history. We've been doing CPQ for over 16 years, and I'd love to share with you some of the insights that went into it, what we are doing today, and more importantly, as Mark pointed out, what is it that we are thinking about for the future to take this to the next level. So you'll see on the screen, the title says Integration Drives Value. So 16 years ago, we spent a lot of time with customers, and even through the years, right up to now, we continue to spend a lot of time with customers. And one of the things that we heard from our customers is, don't give us just another product configurator or a quoting system. Give me something that integrates my business process. So the question was, what does an integration of a business process mean? And our customers kind of told us, when we sell products that are highly configurable, or even if they are not highly configurable, we've got a lot of options where we need to provide users with guidance. Providing access to that knowledge, that configuration in the sales process, not just to my salespeople, but my dealers, my distributors, my customer support people, in a user-friendly way, not necessarily just the way the ERP system does it, but in the way they do business, giving them what they need, whether it's drawings, if the products are dimensional, photographs, if the products are, in industries like apparel, or even in high-value selling industries like boats and recreational vehicles. Show me real-time images of what the product looks like. Give me accurate pricing, not just a list price, but price specific to the market, the customer that we are dealing with. Give them some insights, give our customers some insights into when something can be delivered. And when our customers have highly configured products, there are always some level of specials, as we've learned from our industries, and our customers said streamline that process. All of that leads to selling more, is what we heard. And our customers saying selling more basically became one of our focuses in how do we help our customers use our CPQ solution to sell more. The second portion of what we heard from our customers with respect to integration was, and when we win the order, we want that order to be transmitted to our back-end systems with all of the information that's required in the back-end, be it bill of materials or routings or special work instructions, job inspection sheets, whatever is needed in order to deliver on that product, do it and do it specific to the item as it's been configured. And when you get into products that are highly configured and even more complex in the context of dimensional, offered in many sizes, the sheer amount of variations that comes about becomes a big challenge. So our customers asked us to deliver that so that from sales to delivery, as Mark pointed out, we have an integrated process. So that's the system we set out to build. And we continue to build as we do it today. So in order to deliver on that vision, what you'll see in our CPQ suite is we have a sales portal application that's primarily used by our customers, dealers, distributors, and so on. The customer service reps that work on behalf of dealers, distributors, and so on, and even their direct sales force when they are out in the field talking to national or strategic accounts in order to to help sell the product. At the core of our solution is, of course, a product configuration engine. And one of the key things we did with this product configuration engine is really design it not just for features, options, and pricing. Those are very important, but we've designed that engine to provide a visualization, engineering, validation calculations, as well as manufacturing intelligence that's needed not just on the sales cycle, but also on the back end. And then when we heard the requirement for drawings and visualization, especially complex products in 3D, we've built a 2D automation engine and a 3D automation engine that lets the engineers codify the knowledge in an environment they are comfortable with, their CAD systems, allow the configurator to interact with that knowledge in real time, taking advantage of the computations and producing the drawings that are necessary at the time that it's needed, whether it's in the sales process or in the manufacturing process. Also allows that configurator then to deliver bills of materials and routings as it's needed to the back-end system. And in some cases, a high-level sales bomb during the sales process for extremely complex products, so you can do some sort of availability or some sort of a cost-plus price without going into a whole lot of cost-plus pricing overall. The other thing we heard loud and clear from our customers, and actually this was something we added probably 6-7 years ago to our suite, is the ability to generate documents dynamically. And it started with a huge requirement for being able to produce world-class proposals, submittals, bids, that can actually be submitted in near zero time. Many of our customers said it's normal to have spent weeks responding to a particular request for quotation in order to prepare a detailed bid. We actually have some customers now that talk about doing that in minutes and even possibly seconds. So dynamic documents, whether you use them from your ERP or you use them from your sales side, is an inherent part of our solution as well. We've also done some work and are continuing to do some work to really provide insights from our CPQ system into CRM to help sales reps get a 360-degree view of all the opportunities, including those in the channels, so they can determine where they should focus on in order to drive more business for your company. And then certainly, last but not least, by any means, the integration had to have a tight integration from, with respect to the ERP systems to deliver bombs, routes, allow changes to be made even after the order is submitted, as long as the ERP system provides that, and all of the downstream functionality, whether it's shipping of the configured item as well as the invoicing of it, and also access to product item master knowledge as the configurator is actually executing, that's available in the ERP system. We've certainly spent a lot of time integrating to our Infor ERP systems, including our LN, Cloud Suite Automotive, Aerospace and Defense, and Industrial Manufacturing. On the M3 side, whether it's Cloud Suite Distribution, Cloud Suite Fashion, and also certainly Sightline Cloud Suite Industrial as well. We have significant and deep integrations with those. But we also integrate with non-Infor ERP systems such as Microsoft Dynamics AX, Oracle EBS, JD Edwards, and so on. Many others. Now, in terms of where we are heading to the future, as we look at what the market is doing, but more importantly to what we hear from our customers, sell more is taking on a new definition in today's world. It also means not just sell efficiently through my dealers and distributors, but help me sell through more channels. And channels could be a consumer that uses a mobile phone that wants to configure, price, and quote for themselves and lead all the way down to an order where it's possible, or even if the configuration process begins with the consumer defining what they kind of need and being directed to a particular channel that could fulfill them. So as mobile becomes more prevalent around us, as people become more mobile, taking that experience and knowledge of our customers' products to the point of use is a key focus of ours. So we call that omni-channel. And for a given user, any channel, any device, consistent experience. The second thing we're doing in the overall context of selling is really providing a broader footprint, providing more guidance from an interaction perspective. Certainly we do it in the context of configuration options and selecting parts, but broadening that guidance to a higher level across offerings so that the value add that our customers are offering become broader. Our system does that today. We're just taking that up to the next level, such as installations, services, and other capabilities that go with the product. And the third thing that we're kind of doing is really making the rules and knowledge engine more efficient in representation to help our customers react to market changes faster. One of the mandates and challenges we keep providing our development team is do more with less rules so we can get it done quickly. So all of these contribute to selling more. Certainly by providing a common representation of knowledge that represents sales, marketing, engineering, and manufacturing, we are creating leverage within your organization. There's only one version of truth with all the contributors contributing to it. That helps you spend less, less returns, less confusion, less escalations, and so on. And clearly by providing dynamic proposals, real-time drawings, bids in seconds and minutes, we really help our customers differentiate our brand, and we will continue to do more of that in terms of broadening the sales process and then also broadening the fulfillment levels of details that we have. So that's a quick overview of where we've been, what our solution looks like today, which is where we are today and where we are going. And now I'm delighted actually to introduce Tom Evans, one of our customers that's actually been using the CPQ experience, to give you a perspective from the customer side. Tom?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you. I guess it could be any time of day, as we spoke of earlier. A little bit about Great Plains as some background. We build farm equipment. Primarily, we focus on tillage equipment, planting and seeding equipment, and nutrient placement equipment. In the farm equipment world, we are considered to be a short line company versus a major, like many of you are probably familiar with John Deere or Case or New Holland. As a short line company, we share a lot of dealers with a major, and so therefore we need to be more innovative and probably easier to do business with if we're going to maintain our position in that dealership. Simply put, we need to try harder. Why do we go after a CPQ? In the past 15 years, our volume at Great Plains is 10 times what it was in 2001. And when we experienced that kind of growth, you can imagine what happened with the number of orders that we were trying to process. At that point in time in 2001, we were operating with handwritten orders. Notes were being written in margins. Numbers were being misread, 7s as 9s and 8s as 6s, etc. We were had a lot of shipping errors because we were shipping the wrong attachments. And at the time, we had 2 people on our order desk. Both, I might add, were knowledgeable. They had to be knowledgeable of our product line in order to be on the order desk. And when we experienced that kind of an order load increase, you can imagine the kind of wrecks that we were having. We couldn't handle the load. We had way more entry errors because people were trying to hurry. And unfortunately, we couldn't just go out and add more people to the order desk because they had to be knowledgeable of the product line in order to do that job. So it became obvious to us that we needed to come up with some way to automate our ordering system and to reduce our errors, number one, and reduce the entry overload. That overload created such a backlog that we couldn't get orders in place, put into the system in a timely manner, which didn't drive requirements in a timely manner, which ended up making us deliver product past the due date. So at that point, we began our search for some kind of a configurator to make that load better. And in discussing this with our IT people suggested at the time, well, let's not stop with just a configurator. Let's come up with a configurator that we can integrate with our AS400, drive requirements, put it in the schedule, and fulfill the final product at the end of the day. And that is all in place, although we did not do that all at the same time. As we began to search for software to accomplish that, at the time at least, basically the Infor CPQ software was about the only one that we felt really handled everything that we wanted to try to do as we implemented this. A little bit on how we implemented it. We call this system Quote Pro. It's branded with our logos, etc., for our dealers. So we originally took the software, we wrote our rules, and when we felt that we were ready to introduce it, we went to our territory managers. We have 28 territory managers in the United States. We went just to 6 of our territory managers, 3 of which were computer literate and 3 of which struggled with computers. And each of them, those 6 people, played with Quote Pro for 4 weeks. At the end of 4 weeks, we tweaked some of the issues that they came up with. We rolled out a new version then about a month and a half later to all of our territory managers with some fairly good in-house training before they took it home. And then they were allowed to use it for 60 days. At the end of 60 days, we took their comments and feedback, slightly tweaked the system again, and 30 days later, we rolled out a system that was cold turkey. We announced to our territory managers that we would no longer take a paper order, and they had to come in the automated system. Originally, I felt we would get a lot of pushback, and I was actually amazed at how little pushback we got because they had already become comfortable with running Quote Pro. It's pretty intuitive, and Infor has consistently upgraded with software on a timely basis to make it even more intuitive as we've gone forward. As I said, we did go cold turkey, and it really went very smoothly. Our territory managers then, as everyone was comfortable, introduced it to our dealer organization, and the TMs then went to each of their dealers and got them hooked up on Quote Pro so that they could use it. And today, about 1,200 of our dealers are utilizing Quote Pro with approximately 3,000 salespeople. All of them have access on the web to Quote Pro on a daily basis at the touch of a finger. So a lot of our salespeople deal with ag producers, and they deal with them on their turf. So a lot of times, Quote Pro is being used in a laptop on the hood of a pickup truck in the middle of a feedlot or a cornfield. So it's very flexible and very portable, and approximately 30% of our dealers use this religiously. Another 30% use it more on an occasional basis, and the remainder of the dealers still deal with our territory manager, and they'll call the territory manager and tell him, will you generate this quote? And they'll take the quote. He'll send the quote back to them. They'll take the quote to the customer, and then many times call back and say, okay, convert the quote to an order and turn it in. So it's being utilized at all sorts of different levels. A little bit on the results. As I said earlier, our order load basically became tenfold what it was 15 years ago, and we today still have only 2 people on our order desk. So it's been remarkable what we've done as far as keeping our overhead down. And by those 2 people are still knowledgeable people, but they actually have started to do other tasks in our sales department because, quite frankly, they're just not busy enough to be all day, every day, handling what we need to do with Quote Pro because it's that automated. After approximately 1 year that our territory managers and dealers utilized Quote Pro, we decided it was time to integrate with our AS400, and with some help from Infor, that transition was made very smoothly and without a lot of bumps. In fact, it amazed our IT department that we could do something as smooth as that went. So that was a very good switch over as well. So today we are totally integrated from start to finish, and a TM submits the order electronically. It does have an electronic signature by both the dealer and the territory manager, so we know that not only the territory manager but the dealer also is cognizant of the fact that that order was placed on his behalf. No one touches this order. No one modifies it. Nobody has to re-enter. So we've eliminated all the entry errors that existed in the past. In fact, 95+% of the errors that we had when we started this process are gone. It is a rare occasion now because of the checks and balances that are in place with the CPQ, if it's an attachment that won't work with the configuration, it just won't let them order it. So we've eliminated a lot of errors and made that run more smoothly. And as I said earlier when we started, as a short line company, we sometimes, as a short line company, need to be bigger than life. When we're at a show or dealing with our dealers, we have to look as professional and as good as any of the majors do. And so this software has allowed us to be way more professional looking, I believe, for our dealer and our salespeople. We get a very professional looking quote, a picture of the product, all the details printed out. Everyone has a copy, including the customer, and I think it presents a lot better, more professional picture for us as a company and the dealer as an independent businessman. A lot of our feedback, too, as I said, too, many of our dealers are also major dealers. They're John Deere or Case dealers or New Holland or AGCO. And the feedback that we've gotten from those people is that our system is actually more intuitive and easier to operate than the one from the major. So I think that's extremely important in this day and age. Not everyone that we deal with is a kid that grew up with a computer from the third grade on, and so those people appreciate the fact that it kind of helps do the thinking for you. It's drastically lowered our overhead, of course. To handle 10 times more orders, if we had done that with form bodies, it would have taken at least 8 or 10 more people. And as I said, we're still doing that with 2. It is web-based. Originally, we thought we would go and just put it on a computer and leave it that way, but it was too cumbersome to do that way and then be able to update pricing or changes or option changes. And so it is web-based. You simply get onto your desktop, click on it, and every time that someone signs in, basically, if it's been updated, the updates will be in place. So, and that my hat's off there, I guess, too, to Infor. Dinesh also talked about that. They are continually trying to streamline and improve this product, and consequently, our feedback from our dealers and our territory managers has been that every time it's updated, it's smoother, it's quicker, it has more information available, and so it continues to evolve and become a better product. They also asked me to spend a little bit of time to cover what the pitfalls might be. And one pitfall I will share with you, when we started this process, the people that we had on the order desk were extremely product knowledgeable, but both of them were very dinosaurs, basically, with computers. And so that did not make a real good mix, and our IT department was busy enough that we decided we would farm out to an outside source to write our rules. And it became very cumbersome because he didn't know the product, but he did know how to write rules. And so the transition and the rule writing process was too slow and cumbersome, and also more expensive than it probably needed to be. We had available to us, if we had been dealing direct, a help desk. We weren't using the help desk, but the person that we hired to write rules was using the help desk, but charging us for it. So it became more pricey or costly than it should have. And looking back, both myself and our IT department would say, if you're going to do this, choose someone that understands your product line and also understands how a computer thinks as your rule writer. And we do get a lot of help now on a daily basis. Well, not necessarily a daily basis, because we have a great rule writer in-house. But Infor is always there. We can make a phone call and we can get an answer, and so the help has been good as well. I believe that this concludes my comments, and I agreed with everyone that when I got finished, I would open the floor to any questions that any of the viewers might have.
How long did it take you to write the rules that drive the CPQ system, and how often are they updated?
As far as how long it took us to write the rules, the initial rule writing took us about 3.5 months, and we still weren't complete. With the person that's in place today, we can introduce a whole new line of planters or tillage equipment, and in the course of 2 to 4 hours, all the rules will be written for that product, and it'll be hot in QuotePro. So there again, it comes down to the person that's writing the rules, but the rule writing has also become way more streamlined through updates, and today the rules that are required to writing the rules are way more shortcutted than what we had originally. So that's also helps streamline that timeline. But typically, Vicki Arnett does that for us as a group, and on a new product line, we can give Vicki the information and the pricing, and in less than a half a day, it'll be online, and the territory manager will have that information as well as our dealers.
Another question for you, Tom. What was the total development time from purchase to go live?
Well, anyone that works at Great Plains will tell you that nothing ever happens as fast as Tom Evans thinks it should. So I'm probably guilty there. We started this process, and it was about almost 6 months before we got it rolled out. But I really believe that the cumbersome rule writing that we went through with an outside source probably doubled that timeline. So I'm guessing in the course of a 3-month period of time, and we have, I'm kind of rough off the top of my head, but over 200 models and thousands of options that we offer. So, writing rules on that, and there can be some equipment that we build that might have 25 to 30 different options to choose. So, as you can imagine, there's fairly some good sized rules involved here, but it's pretty quick to write. We haven't had any issue with that since Vicki started doing it for us. She's a quick study.
Gotcha. And I think this one's probably for you, Dinesh. Are there separate sets of rules for configuration and pricing?
Great question, Mark. So the answer is the way the rules modeling environment is set up is you choose and our customers do. Because what we have is you've got a basic set of rule types, as I call them. It's like the English language. You've got 26 characters. You can put them together in any combination to form words. We have rules that allow you to do pricing, including looking up tables, etc. And you can write them in line if your products are such that you want to make a selection, you want to instantly show an update based on an add-on, and so on. We also provide the ability to write what we call post-component or post-configuration rules, which allows you to get all the input from the user and then apply pricing to it. And you can even apply a combination of both strategies. I'm going to show you list as you're going through so you get a sense of what the price might look like. And then at the end, I'll apply the netted discounts based on all the selections you've made because there may be some across the board. So I guess the answer is you choose. The tool actually has specific capabilities to allow both scenarios, separate, together, and even hybrid.
Okay, thank you, Dinesh. And then someone asked if we could see an example of Great Plains processing a quote. I don't know that we have time in today's webinar to do that, but we'll follow up directly with you. I'm sure that we can arrange a demonstration. And then what is a rule? Front end only or all the way down to a BOM level?
Again, excellent question. So as I indicated, 26 characters of the English alphabet. In our world, we have roughly about 30 to 40 rules. Some of them are what I'll call base rules, such as conditions, evaluate a variable, look up a piece of data, and call an external function, and so on. And we also have then rules that are specific for a user for the front end, which we call screen rules, that helps you define tabs, pages, sections, features, and options. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, we've got purpose-built rules. There are, for bill of materials, we actually have rules that are called material rules. For operations, we've got operation rules, work instruction rules. And then for the 2D, 3D, we have specific rules that handle those capabilities, still requiring no programming. We also have rules that can interact in real time with the external systems. So if you want to do an item inventory quantity on hand lookup during configuration, you can do that. So 30 to 40 roughly purpose-built rules that target specific functions. I think the base rules are probably in the realm of about 12 to 15 rules. Keeping it true to our do more with less.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Dinesh. And are there any users of CPQ that are more process-based manufacturers?
So, we've not really focused too much on the process industry per se, but we have, in fact, interacted with customers where instead of bill of materials and routings, you're talking about ingredients and recipes. And in some cases, to do the calculations of ingredients and recipes, the configuration engine has the ability to do that. Certain use cases we've heard in the process industry, it's about the complexity of packaging the product. So, producing the process, there are other systems. In fact, even in our own world, our LX and System 21 platforms really do a great job on the process. Mm-hmm. But now what we've heard from some customers is, I may do the packaging of the product off the continuous line to target certain markets, and I need to configure the packaging of it. So while I wouldn't say we have a huge number of customers in that industry, those are use cases we've interacted with, and we'd be happy to have an offline conversation.
Another question for us, how does CPQ differ from the TDCI product? Well, it doesn't.
Well, I would say it's the TDCI product on steroids because of the investments that Infor has made and us absorbing some of the Infor technologies to really take it to the next level.
Yeah, Infor acquired TDCI in May of 13, and it brought significant additional resource from a development perspective, et cetera, so we've been able to do quite a bit more with the product.
Yeah, so we continue to build on that same product. It is the same product with 2 years' worth of Infor investments that have been fairly significant.
Yeah.
Very significant.
Yeah. For Dinesh, our pricing algorithms are in our bond system. Would we have to replicate the pricing algorithm in CPQ?
No, you don't have to. What our customers will do, bond, typically I believe has 17 or 18 dimensions that you can use in order to do pricing, and you set up pricing by each of those dimensions. Not all customers use all of it. We have built capability to do a call to the bond LN system actually to go ahead and look up and invoke the pricing logic. However, some of our customers in LN have chosen really to still replicate or move certain portions of the pricing to the configuration engine, even for LN, only because when you have option-based pricing or discounting, if the price is not, you may have a high-level starting price based on customer, region, etc. But now when you get to whether the price of red and blue is different in a region, our customers tend to move that to the configuration engine. But by and large, out of the box, you can actually invoke pricing from within bond as part of an external function call. And even in the sales portal for non-configured items, you can have a non-configured item with a configurator that has no pricing at all because it's not invoked specifically, other than you might use it for guiding it. But pricing for non-configured items are looked up directly from the ERP system.
I think I've covered all the questions that have been submitted up till now. Oh, I just got another question. If somebody came on late, are we going to send a video of the webinar? There will be a link to a replay that will be available probably in the next 48 hours so that you can see all of this material and hear the discussion and perhaps share it with others in your organization. Any other questions? We've got about 8 minutes left. Well then, moving on. Here's some additional resources. For the person who asked if they could see a quoting process, I would encourage you to go to this link, this Vimeo link, and it's a complete demonstration of the suite, and I think it'll give you a pretty good start. And then if you have additional follow-on questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can learn more at our website, infor.com. Obviously, call your Infor account executive. He can he or she can work with you on developing what the ROI for CPQ would be for your firm. And of course, attend the next session in the series, August 20th, same time, 1 o'clock Eastern, and that will focus on the ROI of CPQ. Oh, I see another question came in. Tom, this one's for you.
How many rules do we have?
Yeah.
You know, that's a really good question, and Vicky's not close enough for me to be able to answer that. I will. That's her world and not mine, but I will say that she kind of brags on the fact that, you know, you can write rules, and we have models that are similar, and then there's a lot of cutting and pasting that will just automatically move over back and forth between models. So the total steps that you would go through to do this would be numerous, but the actual different rules wouldn't be near as big a number as. But I actually have no idea. But I mean, I could get that information and get back to you, Mark, if you'd like, and we can forward that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, if I can just add to that too, you know, there are minimizing the rules, you know, doing more with less rules, you know, some of those concepts are really kind of, we take them to heart. So there are specific capabilities that we have in the configurator, such as what we call include rule sets or reusable rules. So if you're not making any changes to them, if certainly, as Tom said, if you're going to take a branch of rules and copy them to make slight changes to them, you certainly can do that. A few changes you can make by expressions, but more than that. But if you've got a common block of rules that needs to be called from multiple places, define them once, call many times. If you have assemblies or sub-assemblies, components that are used in many different assemblies, you can write it once, including the front-end rules, and use many times by just referencing it in the context of the product being configured. And when you have it in that configuration, all the knowledge of that product is available to the component, even though those rules are separate. So we put some of those capabilities into the product to minimize.
Another question, does the application support both assemble to order and engineer to order?
Yes, it even supports pick to order. So in addition to assemble to order, which is also CTO, configure to order, engineer to order specifically by allowing, when I talk about specials, the amount of, for an engineer to order the product is inherently special, so to speak. So it's going to go through definitions by different profiles. Different people have the ability to provide different pieces of input as the product gets progressively defined. When I say it also supports pick to order, some of our customers will also have thousands and thousands of parts that they will do kitting and bundling of parts. How do I pick them correctly so that it fits the form, function, and need of the end user so that I can put the bundle to correctly? And at the end of the bundling, it's actually a picking exercise to take all those related parts. So engineer to order, make to order, assemble to order, and certainly also pick to order.
Tom, this next one came in for you. Thanks for the info. Do Great Plains use any dynamic lookup of items from their ERP system into CPQ? And what ERP system do you use?
We're using RAS 400. We're using Freeman. And at one point, we were asked if we would reconsider doing that, but our IT department almost had a heart attack. But it all integrated extremely well. And I think, as I said earlier, they were impressed that it could go as smoothly as it did going into a Freeman situation. And Freeman has a somewhat of a cumbersome quoting mechanism built into it. But when we evaluated and we were looking at the different systems, it was so cumbersome compared to at the time when we went, it was TDCI, now Infor. It was so much more cumbersome and less intuitive that we didn't feel that there was much of a challenge there, that we made the right choice. I'm not sure what that means, dynamic lookup of items from ERP, but we do lots of, we're forward forecasting purchase items, made products. If we know we need this finished weldment here, how it automatically backs all that up. So it's pretty smooth and it works extremely well, and it's definitely helped us make our dates. But if Dinesh, maybe you can give more light on that question than I can. I'm not sure what dynamic lookup is.
No, absolutely. I can touch on that, Tom. We do have customers do that. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the specific ones. I know we have it set up in our pre-sales world as well. But in one scenario, I do remember the scenario. Typically, when you've got a customer service rep's profile, which has a little more power, and they're configuring a product, it's a fairly complex product, they could use alternates based on availability within the ERP. So during the config session, what that particular use case is, allow me to filter all potential alternates from ERP with information of available on hand. Let me just click on one of those in one of the contextual panes, and that becomes the item on the bill of materials that's generated for that unique configuration. So absolutely, the ability to look up items, that's just one use case, but we do have customers doing it, and certainly reach out, Mark, and arrange for someone to show you how that all works.
Okay, well, we're coming to the top of the hour, so I would just like to thank you all for your time and attendance on behalf of Dinesh, Tom, Joyce, and myself, and some really, really good questions. Following today's event, your browser will be redirected to a brief survey. We'd really appreciate your feedback on how to make these events even more effective. We hope that this one today was helpful. You've got the resources that you can engage if you want to further the discussion, and I would encourage you to put August 20, 1 o'clock Eastern on your calendars to get session 2.
Yeah, do feel free to reach out. We're passionate about configuration, so anyone at Infor that you just talk about Infor CPQ, they'll connect you to Mark, myself, and many others on our team. So we look forward to conversations with you.
And thank you, Tom. Very generous with your time. Know you're busy. Very, very grateful you could participate today.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, everyone. I think we're going to finish on time. Everybody have a great day.